I don't even like wine, but guess what? You're gonna like it. I need some cheese.
What's up, guys? This is Barnabas, aka Mac and Cheese, bringing you a game of Domination, Ion Village, Modern Warfare 3. Looking at the top-down overview of the map, this is the general map. Here's where the spawns are generally going to happen from the start of the game, and those are the capture points: C-Dom, B-Dom, and A-Dom. Now, for the majority part of the match, I'm going to be patrolling this green area, and the reason why is because we start off closer to B, so we grab B, and then we try and cap C, and once we have those, I want to float between those two areas. I don't want to push too far past the green. You can push a little bit, but you don't want to push too far because then you run into the danger zone, which is when you're going to potentially flip the spawns, and then it's going to be a little bit more chaotic. So later on in the map, when we have a little bit more control and we have almost a guaranteed win, we'll push into this yellow area and you know, basically have a little bit more fun. But for the first part of the match, we're going to play it safe and just try and stick to that general strategy, or at least majority of the time the team sticks to that general strategy. As we start off here, you'll see, look up at your mini map, figure out what's the closest thing or what's the closest capture point that I'm going to be next to, and then head in that direction, because it is very circular. So as I pull up to B, I'm going to pause here, and the reason why I'm pausing here is because I wanted to show you that as I'm capping B, I don't really know if they're close to B, and that they might be coming around this corner to you know, contest B, and so I'm gonna basically hide behind this barrel using a head glitch, trying to keep my body out of the line of sight, and basically get ready for them to come around that corner so that I can get the upper hand and potentially get a kill. So up here you see I saw a guy there. Jack's going around to the right, and I am gonna flank around. Similar situation here. As I approach this situation, I'm taking note that there's some boxes here to my right, and I'm going to start using those as again, a cover point. I'm going to hide the majority of my body, and I'm going to basically head glitch this area, or try and make me a lot less visible for my first couple shots as well. I'm looking down this alleyway, and as you'll see here, I get that guy and that guy very easily, and if I needed to, I could have pulled back around that corner, around the boxes for cover. Now here I throw out a flashbang because I don't know if more guys are coming, and I want to do a stun check to see if somebody's going to start running around that corner. Don't be too stingy with your flashbangs or concussions. Your secondary grenades, you know, use them to check around corners, to check areas that you don't want to necessarily run around to find out whether or not somebody's there. Just throw a flashbang, see if you get a hit marker. So you see, you know, I'm just kind of, it's not very, very exciting. I'm just kind of patrolling this area. I realize that there's not a lot of guys at C. I hear that we're losing C, so I head back in that direction. Get a Reaper, but you know, you'll notice that I don't call it in right away because there's no sense. It's very early on in the game. I don't really need to use it right away. I might as well save it for a little bit later when I feel like we're really set up, and I can basically push the other team back a little bit and use it, you know, use it wisely. I see that there's a couple guys on B-Dom, so I'm going to head back over to C-Dom. Now, as I do that, again, I'm going to pause the video and just show you that, what do I see here? So I know that the guys are going to come through that little tunnel straight ahead, so I got the red car to use for cover, and I got the little garbage pile over here to the left that I can use for cover. So as I want to move forward, I want to move from one cover point to the next. Again, trying to keep my body as showing or basically staying behind cover as much as possible, showing as little of my body as I possibly can, so that I can you know, keep myself alive here. You know, again, just trying to make myself as small as possible while waiting for these guys to, you know, run around the corner. I realize that now is a pretty good time. We're pretty set up. I'm going to use the Reaper. So my first suggestion is with the Reapers to just fire off and then try and find targets. It's a pretty tricky weapon to use, or kill streak to use, especially if there's a lot of tight corridors or a lot of buildings and whatnot. But just fire them off because you're only up in the air for so long. Also, while you're up in the air, you know, take notice of where the other team is, and let your teammates know where the other team is, so that you can relay that down to them, and everybody's kind of in the know. and can be aware. So, as you see there, I just kind of read that guy. He threw a, I don't know, he threw a little grenade thingy down there. I forget what it's called. And then I figured he saw me, I saw him, and he was going to try and run around and flank me. But instead, I basically figured out what he was going to do, and went down that route to push around to basically get the jump on him. So again, you'll see I'm just kind of floating around here, not even really pushing in over towards B, because I know that there's guys over there. I hear, okay, B is fine. I'm just going to constantly float between these 2 points and, do that for a while until I feel, super comfortable. I'm just going to rack up the kills. It's not super exciting. I'm not running around. I'm not beasting like Sandy Ravage, running all over the map and just destroying guys, but I am getting plenty of kills, and I feel like I'm doing it, pretty smart. So yeah. Again, these guys were not too smart. They kept funneling through the same areas. I mean, you kind of have to in this situation, but we're doing pretty well at this point. I realize that some people have been pushing up a little bit, and B's uncontested. So I'm gonna just watch the flanks a little bit, because I don't know if these guys are spawning off to the side now or what. But I'm gonna kind of try and spread myself out a little bit more. I realize that, okay, I see a guy that spawns behind me, and we got our spawn back, so I'm going to use my next Reaper, see where these guys are at, and try and deter them from pushing towards C or towards B. Also kind of maintaining a little bit more time that we can hold those points. And if once I get through this, I might have a little bit more time to gain another few kill streaks. So, yeah. That works out pretty well. We're doing pretty well this match. We're not flipping the spawns. Nobody's really rushing in too far. Everybody seems to have a pretty good handle on stuff. And again, I'm just gonna rinse and repeat. It's not super exciting, but that's the way that you can win domination. Very easily. Some people get impatient and they start running around and potentially run into spawn flips, but we feel like we've got a pretty good handle this match. So we push in a little bit, and then I think we decide to, okay, we're going to retreat. We're not going to push in that far because we are going to flip the spawns. We start losing C, and I think things start to fall apart a little bit here, where I think we eventually lose B, but see that guy, see the guy behind him that's going towards C. So again, I'm going to kind of flank him, or I'm going to use my Predator missile to get a better viewpoint and take out that guy, and then realize that somebody's already gotten that other guy at C. So again, just watching the minimap, realize there's nobody around, so I'm gonna kind of push up a little bit and patrol this area a little bit farther, because there's no sense in staying too far back and just waiting. That's kind of boring. Can of Cheese is mess with me and shooting at me, and Fancy Cheese and I are kind of holding down this general area over here. Let's see. I think eventually what I want to talk about as well is there's a nice little tip that another OTC member, Lloyd Milligan, gave us, and that's with the secondary. Now, the secondary that I'm using, I forget the name of it, but it's a pretty common one. I think it's the first one you can start using. But as you pull out that secondary, you get into an animation with it, and if you pull out that secondary, go through the animation, the second time that you pull it out, you will not have to go through that animation, allowing you to basically raise your gun a little bit faster and basically be ready for a fight, which you'll see works for me a little bit later, or doesn't necessarily work for me, but for the most part, again, so let's say I'm checking that guy, I see Fancy Cheese has killed him, but yeah, you'll see we've lost B. Things have gotten a little bit out of control, so now we got to try and get it back a little bit. This is a good scenario where that guy should have been around those barrels, and that's why I checked the barrels first, but instead he was just kind of hanging out against the wall, and that was a really bad position for him. He got killed very easily. So yeah, we still haven't capped B, so I think we're trying to push up a little bit or try to get it back, but you can see it's a little bit harder to just push in there, as you see all the red dots on the mini-map. As they're trying to push us now into the C spawn trap, and they're actually pushing a little bit too far in order for for them to basically just reverse the trap on us. They've started to push in a little bit too far, and eventually you'll see that our spawns will flip a little bit. I get distracted by this recon drone. Those things piss me off, so I decided to just kill it and start moving forward. That's the gun, that I just brought out and it flipped out. Since we are kind of in trouble, I'm going to use the Predator right away to try and just get guys off of B if there's a guy on B. I got killed while using the Predator missile, so now I know there's not a guy on B. I pull out the secondary, go through the animation, and then right around this corner I get a nice double, and then I realize I'm running out of bullets, so I go to the secondary, and I didn't have to pull up and go through the animation. Unfortunately, I got killed, and he beat me that time, but at least I had a much better chance of winning that battle than I would have if I hadn't pulled out that secondary right from the get-go. So yeah, we've capped B and C, but again, we've been they've pushed in a little bit far into C, so now we're spawning back on the opposite side, but it is already 195 to 129, so we're not too worried about it. We're just gonna move around and have fun. I realize that, well, I'm over at A, I'm just gonna grab A just in case. I realize that those guys are spawning in there, throw a flash, get a hit marker, and throw the grenade, and that's a case where that works textbook, where you throw just to check. If you get something, you can then throw your grenade or be prepared for that guy to pop around the corner, or at least deter him from coming around that corner. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I know that it's very basic strategies for domination, but when done well, it can almost guarantee you a win, even against harder teams, as long as your team is working together. And you see that everybody went positive that round, and it led for a pretty good textbook domination match. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks for watching.